We're not live yet. We're live, I think now.
We're
But
live
this
now.
is
Now,
this is
now
the
we're live. This is live. Before it
this is
wasn't live, but this right now is live.
this
All right,
is
well, looks
just
like
the
I'm
So
first.
see, this right here is the show.
Yeah. No, this
But
isn't the
don't
show.
like me
This is
trying
the
to explain you
pre-show.
the show, but this is the show.
This is the
All
part where
right.
we explain the show.
Well, it's always
Uh,
helpful, I suppose.
Brought to you by SpinWizComics.com. This is the SpinWiz Comics live pre-show where we talk about what we're going to do on the show. SpinWizComics.com, and they have an iOS app and an Android app. It's literally free comics, okay? It's a discovery platform for comic readers, hosting mainly independent books, mainly 86 independent content creators, 400 titles, more and more added all the time. SourcePoint Press, Tidal Wave, Marcosia, A Wave Blue World, Arcana, more and more coming all the time. The apps are where it's at, dude. You're sitting around doing nothing with your damn phone in your hand anyway. You might as well just go to SpinWiz Comics on the apps and check it out. So, yeah, this is the part of the show where we talk about what's on the show. Again, brought to you by SpinWizComics.com. We have a guest in, Taylor, who's hanging out, maybe for a while. I don't know yet. While AKADavid is out. Taylor is an original OG, so he knows what's up. Oh, bye, Adam. See you later. That's why it's the pre-show. Adam, I'm sure, will be back.
Okay.
But hey, how's it going, Taylor? We actually talk about that. Yeah, Taylor is already better than Jules. We already knew that. Because he's Taylor. All right, Adam's back.
Well, that's
So-
awful nice of you to say. Although
so-
apparently I haven't gotten the lighting situation fixed too well, since it looks like I'm broadcasting from like in the middle of a sun or something here.
No,
So
you look
sorry about
fine,
that.
dude.
Okay,
You look
fine.
great.
Yeah,
You look great.
Hmm.
But
you look like you're ready for that Dune movie to come out.
the show.
I
yeah,
am actually ready for that Dune.
I am
movie to
we
come
can talk.
out.
We can talk about that in the show. This is just the pre-show where we're talking about what we're going to do on the show. So, with David out, we all had to come up with our own news. Everybody brought news, right? Oh, they're like,
Did
yeah,
we?
maybe.
Did we? We'll find out.
Okay, we'll have to see. So we're gonna wing that part of it, I guess. And then typically
We wing every
do-
part of it every time, man. What are you talking about? Don't act
And then-
like we plan stuff out ahead of time.
So Taylor, the first segment is just, hey, how's it going? What's interesting this week? You know, that's not necessarily news, and just a hello to you. We'll do that in a little while. And then the second is we kind of do this thing called moment of destruction, where we talk about IDW's action books, but that doesn't take very long, and you don't have to be in on that. But then we do this Ten of Swords moment, where we've been talking about Ten of Swords books in the build-up. So we'll
Okay,
do that.
I've actually been curious about that. Back when House of X and Powers of 10, it turns out, is what it was.
That's
For
what
the
it is.
longest time, I thought it was Powers of X. So
No, that doesn't make any
Are-
sense.
are you confirming here that it's X of Swords?
No, it's Ten of Swords.
10 of Swords? Okay.
Like a tarot card.
I heard somebody say Cross of Swords.
No,
and
that's completely
sounds like it
wrong.
might make sense.
That's ridiculous. It's not a railroad crossing. Or
It's whatever you want it to be, Taylor. It
but then
doesn't matter.
but then after that, we talk about our top 3 comics. We go around 3, 2, 1. You know. But before we do the 3, you can also mention your like honorable mentions for the week. And thanks for being a fan. If you actually watch the show, you would know what we do. So anyway, this has been the pre-show. Where's the SpinWiz Comics promo? I just did it. You were late, Big Willie. You were late. This whole segment is brought to you by SpinWizComics.com. And also on Android and iOS, free comics, all kinds of great creators and mostly independent creators. This is where you discover tomorrow's, talent. So that's what we can expect on the show. I can't wait for the opening when we talk shit on what's going on. I've been watching a really fun show this week that I want to talk about. Don't ever talk at once.
Oh,
I miss
well-
David. I miss fucking David already. I miss David.
I didn't realize you were
Well, you
just
keep
gonna,
telling us not to talk
shut
for the
up.
actual show, you know.
No,
I mean-
we've been talking the pre-show about what we're going to talk about on the show. That's what the preview show, brought to you by SpinWizComics.com, is all about.
There's some production news for the Disney Plus Marvel shows. Like they've cast She-Hulk, and they're announcing some of the directors for Ms. Marvel. So
That's
hey,
cool.
something.
Yeah.
That's cool. We could talk about that. We want to talk about Ray Fisher? No,
No, I don't.
I don't
I
think
really
we-
don't.
I don't think we want to talk about Ray Fisher. Oh, you sent me the MP4, like an actual commercial. Yeah, you'll have to send me that link again. I was drinking heavily this weekend, so
What do you not?
right. All right. Well, let's let me find I'm gonna do this intro because this is how we feel about Taylor being here. Taylor, if you hit the mic on your screen, you can unmute yourself during the video.
Oh my
No, God!
This is how we all feel. I
No,
think,
God, please, no!
about this
No!
show. Its
No!
host.
No!
That's how I feel when I have to talk to you.
It's yeah, no shit. No shit. Oh man. Yes. Yes. I don't know what that means. Man, I love our intro. We need to work on some lyrics. I know I keep saying that. Greetings,
I wouldn't trust
geeks.
any lyrics that you came up with, Gomer.
Oh, I'm doing it. It's going to be poetry in motion. Greetings, geeks.
It
Welcome
can't
back
possibly end up being good.
to another episode of Outright Geekery's comic book shit talk show.
Shit talk show.
We're down one, but up one, oddly. I am your co-host, Gomer. With me, as always, Adam Normal, and special
on,
guest this week, sitting in for AKADavid. I don't know how we're going to do this, but this is a good start. Taylor Ramsey. Taylor's an old school Outright Geekery dude. He's OG, man. He's been there
Yeah,
since
he
the
is.
beginning.
Back
Yeah,
when
it's
we
been
were
a minute,
geeks on the
though.
square table, just talking around the comic shop.
It is. It all
Fond
started with you
memories of
guys.
that.
It was.
Mhm.
It was. So what have you been up to, Taylor? What's going on? You could talk any scope you want, the large scope or the small scope. This isn't the news segment. This is just, hey, how's it going, man? How's your
No,
life?
it's going pretty well.
Good. Good.
You know, the world being a ever expanding hellscape notwithstanding, you know, I'm doing all right.
Yeah,
Considering
I'm coping, but that's the best word for it. Oh, bye, Adam. He's leaving again.
it swallowed Adam. The hellscape of our world swallowed Adam.
It was bound to happen eventually to one of us.
But I guess in somewhat geeky news, I've been
Yeah.
playing that new Avengers game.
Oh, how is that? I've heard a mixed bag.
I like the game, like the part where you're out there playing. I think the characters are pretty well balanced. Like they all have a
Yeah.
pretty good feel. Like they feel like Iron Man is like, you know, kind of a rangy guy, and Hulk, you're supposed to go in there and just smack the shit out of people. So, you know, they did a
Okay.
good job getting the characters right.
Okay.
A lot of the stuff around the game is kind of annoying, though. Like the menus are not terribly well optimized.
Oh.
It could use a patch or two. So they
What about
didn't.
the story? I'm hearing about the story.
I like it.
Oh, hey, Adam in the chat. Well, that's fun. Yeah, I've heard a mixed bag on that. I have this week been watching a show on Netflix called Kim's Convenience.
Kim's Convenience.
Has anyone heard of this show?
I have not.
It is a Canadian show about a Korean-owned convenience store. And it's sort of like Archie Bunker with that premise. Canadian, Korean guy.
Interesting.
It's like All in the Family with like Archie Bunker. It's like cutting edge woke, but sort of like the old guy making fun of the woke a little bit. It's quite good, dude. You know.
I was about to ask if like the main character was like a bigoted racist of sorts.
No, but he is
It's kind of
but he is your
the
typical
memorable
old
part
man.
of all of it.
Exactly. But he is your typical old man, and they play off of it very well. It's very thoughtful and mature, but it's still kind of funny in its Canadian way. Yeah, it's great, dude. I've been binging hell out of it. And my old lady was like, I want to play some video games, so I put the Wii back up, and we've been playing Mario Golf.
There you
Toadstool
go.
4,
I love
like
this
some
Mario Golf.
mugs. Adam, what about you? What's going
Man,
on?
I've been a good '90s kid this weekend. I've been
Oh,
I've been
God.
watching old episodes of Dragon Ball Z, and I've been playing my Super Nintendo.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So how does Dragon Ball Z hold up watching it with more adult sensibilities?
You know, you appreciate the animation a lot more.
Oh, that's fair.
You definitely notice the perviness of it a lot more.
Sweet.
Um,
I
Fuck,
imagine
that's
my
Master
favorite
Roshi
part.
hasn't aged too well yet.
No,
Yeah.
Master Roshi has not aged very well at all.
Well, I guess like in canon, he's aged fantastically because he's like 400 years
pretty.
old. But
He's pretty.
I guess.
I mean, he's still able to fight
it's
when
fun
he's
to watch
300.
though. And
it's more fun to watch when you're older.
It's not filled with as much filler as I remember it being filled with.
Well, that's good.
And there's no commercials.
Yeah, and there's no commercials. That helps too.
All right. I don't know how the hell we're going to do this.
Live from the newsroom, it's us guys.
All right. I don't know how we're going to do this. Usually David just spits out a bunch. I need to cut this video. It's so damn long. I don't know how we're going to do this. David usually just does everything, right? But this week, we're all doing the news. So we might copy each other.
Yeah, we might.
That's always a risk. But I've got a lot. I'll go first. You want me to go first?
I don't give a
By
shit.
all
Go.
means.
All right. I do have some food news, but I'm going to wait on it. I'm going to sit on it. It's a tease.
Why did you
Universe,
ask to go first if you're just going to...
DC Universe is going comics only.
Big news. We kind of alluded to that already, in a previous episode, but now it's really confirmed, and they're going for it. They really need to up the catalog that they have in there because it's not enough right now.
And not just that. All right, let's get the whole story. In January, all their shows are going to HBO Max, and they're just going to have comics, sort of like Marvel Unlimited, Comixology Unlimited. $8. It's going to be called DC Universe Infinite. Where Marvel can't be happy that they stole Infinite from them because they use that quite a bit, and DC doesn't use it at all. I'd be like calling it Marvel Crisis, which does not happen.
Yeah, but Crisis on Infinite Earths. So
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. That's twice they stole it. Never mind. So anyway,
there also was an Infinite Crisis.
You're right.
They use Infinite a fair amount, actually.
Yeah, you're not wrong. All right, never mind that part. So, what new titles are they going to add, like Adam alluded to? But they also talked about some exclusive digital titles during the DC Fandom. So, those
That's important.
Yeah. But, like Marvel and Comixology do, there's a release window of like 6 months or thereabouts.
Yeah, they need to come out with a regular schedule of when they're going to put out their books.
The new books.
The new books, yeah.
The books that came out this week, how many weeks until they're available on this new thing?
Yep.
Because that's important. Marvel Unlimited is like 3 to 6 months, depending on the title. So, some good news. I think they should make this a free thing though for HBO Max subscribers. I think you want to.
I agree with you. Just to keep the synergy up, and plus, they kind of owe the DC Universe people because they kind of screwed them over.
They did screw them over,
stealing all of that content from that service and putting it onto HBO Max.
And not that AT&T and Warner Brothers or whatever were kind of dumbasses for having 2 streaming services anyway. It's kind of stupid, but I think if they make it a free add-on for HBO Max, you can push them Watchmen, the movie, or the TV show, both, good in their own rights. I like the show a whole lot better anyway. But they're watching that, and you can push them to the comic and maybe get them to enjoy reading a comic. Or I don't know, dude. I don't know. I want more people reading comics. I don't
think there will be too many people who are getting it for the streaming service who wouldn't necessarily be going out to get comics on their own anyway. So this is something it's extending a invitation to people who might not have ever been interested otherwise. So yeah, that could work pretty well.
They're not going to though.
Well,
and it'll boost up their subscriber base. So
I mean, so far it's not been a great handling on the corporate end of things. So I wouldn't expect them.
When is it ever?
Well, fair, but
hey, that's a great transition to my next news thing.
All right, go ahead.
Handling of corporates. So they announced the PlayStation 5 details this week.
Oh, don't.
Yep.
Are we going here, PlayStation?
What?
Go ahead.
It's Geek News, isn't it?
It is.
So they announced So I'll get through this part first. So they announced it's going to come out on November 12th. The disc version of it's going to cost $500, and the disc version of it is going to be $400. I think that's decent pricing for a next gen console. Not bad. But the bad news is you're not going to be able to get it though anytime soon because it's been pre-ordered out.
Apparently, if you weren't in there 6 a.m. the time they were launching it, you missed the boat.
That's not entirely true.
Nope.
All right, because Sony announced that pre-orders were not supposed to be available until the morning of the 17th. The night before, the stores were sold out. The stores jumped the gun.
They totally did.
And Sony is like, oh, we're so sorry. The stores jumped the gun. The stores are like, oh, we're so sorry. We jumped the gun. But they don't give a damn because they're getting a lot of free publicity out of this. And they've also said, oh, we're going to release some more consoles before the end of the year. You were already going to do that anyway. So.
Yeah, right? Like they weren't going to sell more.
It probably doesn't hurt them that the story is like, oh, it's too popular. Too many people want the PS5. Yeah.
It's the toy of the season. Immediately.
Yeah.
Xbox.
All that manufactured scarcity, man.
Exactly, dude. It's manufactured scarcity. It's the same reason I don't like store exclusives on toys and stuff like that. It's bullcrap, dude. It's bullcrap. Some dude's got a bot running at home that can, order 5 of them off whatever website immediately. And before he even pays for them all the way, just pays for his pre-order, he's got them on eBay for $1,000. And they're on there. They're on eBay for $800 to $1,000 now. It's bullcrap. These brick and mortar stores, dinosaurs waiting for the asteroid to come. Their last gasp is to screw over the people who are actually still patronizing them. They can rot, dude. It's bullcrap. It's bullcrap. I'm so upset about this because I don't really care about the console wars.
I don't really care either because I usually wait a year or two before I buy a console anyway. But this is still bullshit. This is still just a bullshit way to treat your customers.
There's new TF Pops coming out. Right? There's a limited edition Jetfire. I'm not going to be able to get that because they're all going to be sold out by the time I click refresh the minute it becomes available. And it's bullcrap, dude. It's
probably
wrong.
True.
It's wrong. All right. Taylor, you're up for the news story. See, I can switch it on and switch it off. I was really pissed, and now I'm right back down.
Okay, well, as I mentioned earlier, there's some production news coming around for some of the Marvel shows. And I always get her name wrong, so I have it pulled up here to make sure. Tatiana Maslany is apparently going to be Jennifer Walters in the upcoming She-Hulk show.
So
it's a bigger name than I was expecting to be on this show, I gotta say. Well, really? I mean, she got all sorts of acclaim for Orphan Black.
Yeah, Orphan Black. Here's their big claim to fame.
So good.
It was a good show.
It was good.
Have you watched Orphan Black?
Yeah, I've seen Orphan Black.
I haven't seen all of it, but she is quite good in the episodes I've seen. Yeah.
This actress made me believe that 5 different people were having a conversation in the same room, and they were all her.
Yep.
She can act, right?
Yeah, she's a great actress.
But I don't think she's all that big of a name.
Well, I guess she's
on a big BBC nerd show. Yeah, in nerd circles for sure.
I mean, they didn't get Dame Judi Dench or something to play.
I would pay to see that though. That would
actually be kind of interesting. But no, I'm pretty excited about this news. I mean,
yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Do a great job with it.
It's exciting that we're getting this She-Hulk show in the first place. I'm for it.
They were talking Allison Brie. I would have loved to have seen Allison Brie.
I could see that, sure.
Do it. And they were also talking, what's her name from Shameless? Emmy Rossum, I think her name is.
Oh yeah.
She's just super hot. I'll watch her in anything. So, but they picked a girl who can actually act, can do all kinds of things. She can be both. You know what I mean? And she can switch it on and off. Yeah. Because if they're gonna go with She-Hulk, I mean, are they gonna go with the ragey She-Hulk? She has to get mad and.
Well, my favorite She-Hulk is the one where she is the lawyer when she is She-Hulk.
Yeah.
She has control the whole time.
I assume that they're going to go for sort of the most recognizable iteration of the character. And for me, She-Hulk is usually the one who can just turn it off and on whenever she wants.
She chooses to be the Hulk form.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a different spin.
My favorite iteration of She-Hulk in the last few years was when Charles Soule was writing the book a few years ago.
That was fun. Yeah, that was a fun book.
It was legal drama as much as it was superheroics. So.
Well, I think that's what they have to go for.
Yeah, I mean, that's a dynamic they could exploit quite a lot. We could have a Law and Order MCU or some shit.
That would be great. There's plenty of angles they could play off connecting it to the rest of the MCU. Man, I hope they do WandaVision by the end of the year and Bucky or Cap and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, we're on other production news. We're starting to see some set photos come out, which not quite as exciting, but I mean, the outfits look pretty cool. We're seeing what's his name is U.S. agent, and
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Dude,
Well, second-
villains are in. Villains are in this year. Homelander's. phew, I'm gonna
Homelander
sub.
is big deal. Well, sticking to that Disney Plus stuff, they dropped that new trailer for The Mandalorian season 2.
Yeah.
Looked great. I'm definitely ready
did.
for that to come back out.
It's almost, and I don't believe this, but the one gripe I've heard, they're like, "Oh, this is getting to be too Star Wars because they got Jedi," and I'm like, "Dude, what are you? It's Star Wars.
It is Star
We
Wars.
haven't
Shut
seen
up.
a single solitary Jedi in any of that trailer footage, so I mean,
No, there was a glimpse.
well,
They're
like the dude in
saying,
like the shadows or whatever. Like, I
well,
don't
that's
know
Sasha
that
Banks.
was,
That's wrestler Sasha Banks. That's
Sasha
actually
Banks. Yep,
a
you're
woman.
right.
Yeah. And they're saying that she's the one playing a Jedi. So we'll see. I'm not sure how any of that's going to play out, but who
I
cares?
mean, they
It's
built up
Baby
enough
Yoda.
good faith with the first season that I have
Baby
no
Yoda.
reason to doubt
Oh,
them
I
at
have-
this point.
Oh yeah, I have
Yeah.
total faith in them.
What else?
Oh, I guess also while we're still on Disney Plus,
Yes.
apparently the guys who directed Bad Boys for Life are going to be a couple of the directors for Ms. Marvel's show.
I'm cool
Oh,
with that.
really?
I'm cool with
Yeah.
that.
Did you guys
So
ever
it's
see
gonna-
Bad Boys for Life?
Well, no, I haven't.
It's just action. I mean,
It
they're
was
just getting
like
us
a
for the action, right?
It was a good example of a 90s sensibilities action movie, and it was a pretty good example of that type of thing.
It's Michael Bay,
It came out like 20 years after you might expect something like that, but it was fine for what it was. But
yeah. The Ryan
if I-
Reynolds chase flick on Netflix is like that too.
Six Underground. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's
well, that's a Michael Bay movie. So
It's so
he's the king
rad.
of
I love
those.
it. I love it. It's just stupid, brainless action. So great.
nothing wrong with that.
I love it.
I
What
don't
else?
know that that's going to translate to Ms. Marvel, but
Well,
I,
when you say a few episodes, those can
apparently
be.
some of the other episodes are going to be like this documentarian who made a couple of Pakistani movies,
See,
which they're trying to get the everything right about who's behind the camera and in front of the camera, and that's an admirable goal. So,
well, you have to have a good mix of, because it's an important cultural character, but she's also an action star, an action character. You know, she's
True.
a superhero. So having a mix of that is pretty good. Man, I want to see them go all out with the stretchy. You know what I mean?
Ms. Marvel is like my favorite character to come out in the last 10 years, hands down. So I am
he's
excited about
definitely
the
one of
show
the best new
regardless.
characters by
Yeah.
far in the last decade.
All right. Should I go? Should I get into the food news?
By all means.
I got one more. I got one more.
All right, do one more. We'll end on food.
All
So
right,
you guys
all right.
finish up.
Henry Cavill signs a new 3-picture deal to play Superman in upcoming DC movies.
It's a good
Oh,
one.
I missed that news entirely. Okay.
Yep.
It's a good one. Now, is this more than just
they're not
cameos?
That they don't say anything. They
See.
didn't announce any Superman movies. It's just that he's going to play
Well,
Superman in 3 movies. They
we need a
confirmed
video.
that one of those is going to be the Shazam sequel.
That's just a cameo.
That's
He gonna
just a
fight
cameo.
Superman like
Probably.
in that movie? Because that would be rad. That would.
I
be
mean,
great.
if they're
I'd
just
be,
going to rip
I'll be
off some
cool
of
if
their
The Rock
animated movies
fights
at this
Superman
point,
in that movie.
yeah.
What, Taylor?
If they're just going to be ripping off some of their animated movies at this point, more power to them, because most of those are actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Um,
I hope one of them's Man of Steel too. I gotta say,
Well,
I am
they will
not.
inevitably make more Superman movies. I mean, that's
Yeah.
just a matter of course. So
I like Henry Cavill as Superman. You know,
I think-
he was not my problem with that interpretation of Superman.
yeah, I'd be
Yeah.
very interested in seeing Henry Cavill in a movie not directed by Zack Snyder.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't mind. Man of Steel.
Man of Steel
I
was
didn't think
I
it was-
didn't mind it.
I don't think it was bad per
No, it wasn't
se,
bad.
as much as like the tone was a little
wasn't
disorienting
what you would
for a
expect
Superman
for a
movie.
Superman movie.
Yeah.
Well, it's what you'd expect from that director, though.
It is.
Nobody went
Well-
into that saying, "Oh, I can't wait to see this Superman movie,"
Wait,
and then
you-
went out saying, "Oh, that was too much Zack Snyder," and have it be Zack Snyder's fault.
We
It's your
came full
fault.
circle to the original point there that I'm interested in seeing him without Zack
Somebody
Snyder.
else,
directing.
correct? Yeah, that makes sense. I get it. Okay, food news. We're ending on food news.
All right.
Vita Ayala and Rod Rice are taking over New Mutants, though. I do want to mention that. PepsiCo, Pepsi, is launching a new drink called Driftwell.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
This is meant to be a relaxation drink that you drink before
Drink that puts you
bedtime.
to sleep.
Yeah.
So like the opposite of a soda, then.
Yeah. So we're hitting peak science fiction right here. When you take a drug to wake up, you take a drug to go to sleep, but it's all consumables and driven by over the top capitalism.
Nope, you're
200
not wrong.
milligrams of L-theanine and 10% of the daily value of magnesium,
Oh gosh.
starting in December. It's
So they're making Z-Quil. They're doing
basically, yeah.
Pepsi Quill.
Pepsi Quill. A few studies have suggested
Trademark.
that the ingredients in this
They need to
can
get
help
on that if they haven't already. Honestly.
improve sleep quality. It comes in a 7.5-ounce mini can, which are all the rage right now. Just one flavor right now: blackberry lavender. You putting this in your bathtub? Is this a fucking bath bomb? Blackberry lavender.
Hey man, you're unwinding. You're already in the bathtub anyway.
But still, I don't really
that
drink
blackberry
lavender.
So is the idea here you just like take it from your nightstand, chug it down, and it's just gonna zonk you out in the next few minutes?
I think.
Yeah, man, you just pound it out like a Red Bull, and then you just go to bed.
I have an image now of like some like Red Bull bros like, oh man, I need to sleep.
I'm shotgunning my drift well. Yeah.
Chug that drift well, man. Gotta get in that 8 hours, motherfucker.
I am not a fan. Although, if I could say, because my wife said this, she's like, well, there's like tea that wakes you up and there's tea that puts you to sleep. And if someone drank that, you'd be like, oh, yeah, they're hipster. Awesome. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't feel right with a soda company dealing me something that's meant to change my state of being.
To be fair, I don't know how much credence I'm actually giving to the tea person here,
Yeah. You can heat this up. The drift well, heat it up to boiling and drink it before bed. I don't know. I want to see like a milk company come in, like a dairy company come in. Yeah, we got this new Sleep Right milk. You just heat it up. And you can sell it for $3 extra, and it's just warm fucking milk. All right, let's do. This is the moment of destruction. Not much this week, just one book, and it's not even a Transformers book, but there are Transformers Pops.
There are Transformers Pops, and they announced new Transformers coming out in December.
I don't care about that. That's way too late.
Yeah, you don't care about it, but this is the Transformers segment, and that is Transformers.
But that's way too late for it to be Christmassy. I can't get those for Christmas now. They'll be February before I can get those. Oh, here's some shit in December when you really can't afford it. Okay. But the TF Pops look great. There is a Jetfire that's only available at the Funko shop. Everything else is available pretty much everywhere. You just have to kind of look.
Mm-hmm.
But they're definitely available at
Entertainment Earth. I really like that Soundwave.
Oh my dude, the Jazz look great, and I was like, why'd they do Jazz? But he's
why'd they do Jazz? It looks awesome.
All right, G.I. Joe number 8, Paul Aller, Emma Viacelli.
Yep, she's like a guest artist, I think. She's not the typical artist, but she's
this is sort of a one shot.
Yeah,
sort of a one shot book. Go ahead.
So yeah, this one starts Bomb Strike. She's posing as a Canadian diplomat in order to get close to Dr. Venom, so she can get his the schematics for his Bats robots, who are the main forces of Cobra, and it's your typical spy story where you're going undercover, you're falling in love with the person that you're trying to get one over on. She has a nice interaction where she goes with Chuckles, who's her handler. They have that's
a cool evolution for Chuckles to now be a handler.
I guess. I mean, we don't really know his character in this one, so we don't know if that.
Well, not in this, but traditionally, Chuckles has been that spy who's dug himself in so deep that he's. And they did mention in this that there he goes again. But they did mention in this that Chuckles had an interaction previously with another character in a romantic way, and that actually did happen in previous IDW G.I. Joe books. So, if anything, that's the first indication that this is a full continuation of the book. Hey, I was just saying they did reference Chuckles' old romantic relationship with a Cobra agent. So
They
this is
did.
kind of the first direct line that this is a sequel to that other IDW book.
Yep. They had a nice interaction also with Overlord, where she goes to have dinner, and she kind of lays out her plan where like Canada kind of does a tit for tat for Cobra, but then Overlord, he does a power play. He kills a servant right in front of her, and he's like, "No, we're just doing this because Cobra says we're doing this."
Yeah.
And Canada only exists because we allow it to exist, which I thought was a really nice show of how powerful Cobra is right now.
Sure. Taylor, I don't know if you've been keeping up with this, but the status quo has changed.
No.
Cobra has in this iteration, Cobra has actually won. They have taken over the world, and now it's G.I. Joe who are the freedom fighters or quote unquote terrorists.
Well, I mean, from a storytelling perspective, that does do a lot of narrative lifting for you, right? Where like
it really does.
You want the bad guys to be a daunting challenge, and so they have taken over the world is about as daunting as you get.
I think it's quite poignant in our current real world political, and maybe it's always poignant in a real world political. We're always this close to falling all into the brink, but good moments in this issue. October Guard and Action Force mentions. That was nice. Bomb Strike having her own Chuckle style moment was cool. I love there's a depth here that Paul Aller always writes into his books where
he does character really well.
Yes.
All of these stories are stories that we've seen before, but these specific character moments between people, like all the moments between Dr. Venom and Bomb Strike in this are great. They're all very deep. There are levels to what they're saying. There's subtext to everything that's going on.
And then he defects.
Yep.
I love the part where she rationalizes to herself that I'm actually doing this guy a favor by
betraying
by basically tricking him into falling in love and then forcing him to defect because of his emotions. You know what I mean? She's almost tricked herself into she's in love with this guy, but on top of that,
not a Nazi.
But on top of that, there's this layer of she's deluding herself. You know what I mean?
Totally
but
is.
She's doing it for the best reasons, the best intentions, at least to serve. Oh, here he goes again. This dude's gonna have to get better internet. Well, anyway, G.I. Joe number 8 was dope.
I will say though that hearing all the G.I. Joe stuff completely out of context,
right?
Bit of a trip,
right? Oh, he's back now. Man,
I
you
don't
get
know
better internet. You get better.
Yeah, my internet's just crapping out today. I don't know what's
anyway.
going on.
Great issue of G.I. Joe. Very good issue. Right, Adam?
Yeah, very good issue.
Awesome. Oh, did I cut you off? Shing! Man, what a brinker and a stinker this week for our prelude to Ten of Swords. Everything starts next week with Creation. We're going to talk about it tomorrow night on the preview show. Excalibur number 12, Teeny Howard Marcus Toe. Again, I'm not really sure what this has to do with the upcoming Ten of Swords event, but Apocalypse completed his weird externals ritual and created the external gate. But then you read X-Men number 12 by Jonathan Hickman and Lionel Francis Yu, the other path to Ten of Swords. Now this is the big buildup, man.
This is the exposition dump, is what.
Oh man,
it was, but Hickman excels at exposition dumps.
He does. It's a very entertaining exposition dump, but it is.
We learned all this history.
Like, you better get out your notepad and take some notes, because
we learned all this history, man.
Like an entire war, which was really cool. But yeah, it's an entire war from like a ancient sect of mutants who were exiled from this world somehow, fighting some other assholes. I don't know. And,
well, it's big news because, Apocalypse is no longer the first mutant. He's the first mutant of the second line of mutants. There was a whole other race of mutants from way before them.
And it seems like they had the same idea. They were on an island too, just kicking it, all having a great time.
After a while, so were these first wave of mutants like around when humans were around?
I think they were
it kind of loses all meaning to call them mutants.
Where the hell are they? Oh,
are
that's
they just
true.
like?
Humans
Are they
would
just
be the
like
mutants.
superpower people? Because
He didn't go into that
I don't know.
that depth.
But is it a different? I mean, all right, because
It could
this
be
is
it could be a different world, a different
because this is
multiverse.
where
You know,
the Eternal
Could be.
Gate comes in. You got to get in the Eternal Gate to go to Otherworld, which is in Excalibur, and then from Otherworld you can get to Araco or whatever that. I think it's Araco.
Yeah.
something like that.
We need a guidebook with a pronunciation key for all this shit. But
I assume
dude,
you're saying it correctly, but I don't know.
Dude, I adored this. Great art, typical Hickman depth to the story without actually digging into anything at all. You can tell the story in here is so deep and rich in this long history and story, but you don't know any of it really.
Yeah,
You just know,
I
like
could
you
tell
said,
that this guy has probably terabytes of data written about this thing on his hard drive somewhere that I would just love to dig through.
oh yeah, reading
That
One
he's
his
of
just
notes.
piecemealing out
Oh
to
my
us right now.
gosh.
One of
Oh
his
my God.
biggest talents as a writer is tantalizing the audience, and he
Mhm.
is doing that in a great way here.
Yeah.
I didn't recognize any of the names that were being thrown around here, but I was still like, "Oh man, what happens next?" You know?
Yeah, exactly. I cannot wait. This was the best
Did
sort
we
of
know
primer.
before that Apocalypse had a wife?
I mean,
No, I don't
That's
think
news
so.
to me. I have no idea.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
news
they
to me too.
alluded to it earlier in X-Men, but no, I think this is and that's that chick from the front of the damn.
Oh yeah, his wife's
Prelude. I
name
think
is Genesis, which is
yeah,
appropriate enough, I suppose.
yeah. They're doing this whole yin yang thing, and I'm wondering if
Well, that's just
the
Hickman.
sword.
Hickman always does that dichotomy of good and bad.
Sure, and most stories do too with the good
Well,
guys
yeah.
and the bad guys, and then they put them all in a gray area. But
Yeah, but Hickman literally paints all of his characters literally white or
why the
black.
hell they all got swords?
I don't know.
Because they're badass. That's the only reason I need, but I would like another reason.
I trust Hickman, but when I first saw that this was going to be an event called X of Swords, and like the promo, they all had like their special custom swords that they were taking into battle. If it were someone else writing it, I would probably dismiss it right away.
right.
But
like
Hickman
Fear
has been
itself
doing
when
a good
everybody
job.
had a hammer.
Yeah, Fear itself. And everybody had
and
a
Fear
hammer.
itself did not
was
turn
terrible.
out that great. So
Oh man,
that is one of the worst events I can remember reading.
well, and Empire
honestly.
too. Empire was terrible. Empire was bad, dude.
I didn't hate it, but I
It
didn't
may not
like
be
it
all
either.
of Empire's fault. A lot of books got canceled, and but everything
Well,
just.
I mean, if
was
they're
a-
going to be putting out these events like 2 or 3 a year, like they are, like what this year we have Empire,
King in
that
Black,
Venom God thing,
King in Black,
and now
Ten of
Ten of
Swords.
Swords.
Yeah.
So many events.
But they're all
if there's going
different
to be that many
lines.
events, well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, if that's going to be your volume of events, some of them are going to be stinkers, just inevitably.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, conversely, it also means that just by sheer volume, some of them will be good. But
that's true. I mean, I'm hopeful that King in Black is going to be great. I'm going to be buying that, and of course, Ten of Swords.
Donny Cates has been solid, so going off of
Cool.
his last Venom event, was pretty damn good.
Right. All right, let's get into that's it. That's all for the. We start the event next week, man. There's only one X book, and it's just the Ten of Swords.
How long has it been since just one X book came out?
When books have regularly come out.
Well, not counting the
back when Powers of 10 and House of X was a thing. So over a year. All right, let's do top 3. This is when we count down. All right, should I go first? You want me to go first, guys?
Go first, man. You always want to go first. Go first.
But real quick, thanks for breaking down this is where we count down part for me when they were counting down like there. I would have been lost.
I want to make sure we're all on the same page. Honorable mentions: Batman '99, James Tynion, and Jorge Menez. Penultimate issue of Joker War.
I agree with that. Honorable mention.
Love the art.
Yeah, my God, dude. This issue especially. There's a couple of things where like Batman pulls up to Ace Chemical in the Batmobile, and it's a great shot, and then he's walking away from the Batmobile.
All those spreads, all those spreads look great.
There was also like 2 or 3 pages in a row where it was just like big one-page splashes. Yeah.
There was also a really nice Batman Harley moment in there.
Yeah,
where they're talking
I've been
about
really enjoying Harley in this story. Like I liked her interaction with a Punchline in the last issue, where it's like Oh, you
Tinian's
don't get it yet. He doesn't care about you.
Tinian's been writing her character very well. He does individual character moments very well. It's just the overall story that I'm not buying into.
Well, the overall story, like, I haven't been reading all the tie-in stuff, so
I haven't either.
From just reading the main Batman book, it just seems kind of like, oh, all hope is lost, all hope is lost, all hope is lost. I'm going to win now, Like, it seems like he flipped that switch right away. Like,
all it took was an acid trip, man.
Yeah.
That's silly. The Harley stuff where, I'm going to finally murder the Joker or whatever. He was so mean to you. And now you're going to do it when he steals from the billionaire. Now you're mad enough to murder the guy.
I mean,
Shut up,
shit's
Harley.
going sideways, but
it's also
I feel like they kind of,
murder.
Yeah. I feel like they kind of like unintentionally kind of got meta on themselves there. It's like, he's just going to try to one up this later, or like,
exactly.
That's more of a commentary on people who write the Joker than it is on the Joker
To me, that
itself.
was a commentary on Tiny and saying, hey, this is the best I can do because it's all been done.
Kind of,
yeah. I mean,
Clown Hunter is the best part of this still.
That's what the story feels like. It's like it's him trying to one up, Snyder stuff in the past and all the other Batman stuff. And it's not worth it.
So last page reveal, because, and I'm pretty sure we all knew this was coming at the beginning of this arc, even in the prelude issues, we knew Joker was bringing dead people back back to life or whatever. We kind of all telegraphed it that yes.
Who's
Alfred's
the most important dead person right now?
He's dead, all flipping over because his neck's all still broke. But then he's got this weird Batman suit of his own that I'm just like, why? Why?
They hyped it up a few issues ago when like its premiere was like it sitting in a closet or something. Yeah. And then they had like a dream sequence where we saw, hey, that was pretty impressive. But I feel like we haven't seen enough out of this suit for that last page to be like, oh no, Batman's in trouble now, because like I don't know how overwhelming this suit actually is,
Or is he still dreaming all this?
He's not.
I don't think he is.
Wouldn't that be
assume not? That would be incredibly lame.
Wouldn't that be Batman's worst nightmare, that he loses his only superpower, being rich? Because that's his only superpower.
The concept of this book is fine, and it's been a fun read for the most part. But
the art's been worth it alone for me.
The fact that, like you guys were saying, like this is the latest step in a body count arms race for Joker pulling shit, kind of puts a wet blanket on the event for me.
Yeah.
Or story arc, I guess I should say.
Yeah, I'm with you.
My other honorable mention this week was Stillwater #1 by Chip Zdarsky and Mike Spicer. Ramon K. Perez. It's a solid start to an intriguing debut about a horror series that revolves around a stranger, sort of a loser kind of dude, who arrives at this town where no one dies. And it's Chip Zdarsky writing it, so it's really creative. It's got this nice edge to it. But my number 3 pick is, I went back and forth with this, man. And I have notes written for the other one. Damn it. I got to go X-Men #12. And we already talked about it, so I don't have to get into a lot of detail. But, man, I'm so stoked for Ten of Swords. I'm just so stoked for it. So, Adam, do you want to go next? We already talked about it.
My number was Stillwater #1.
Oh, okay, cool.
From Chip Zdarsky and Ramon K. Perez from Image Comics. Yeah, like you said, it was about a guy who has anger problems, got fired from his job. He gets this weird notice, this weird summons saying that his great grand aunt died and that he's going to get some inheritance. So he and his buddy go down to this town, and while they're there, they see this kid die, but he comes back to life because nobody dies in that town. So then everybody in the town, comes and captures him, and they do all this horror movie
freaking
stuff.
out. Dude's like,
dude's freaking out.
On?
And this was a good first issue. It does a good job of establishing the characters, establishing the universe. I still would have liked a little bit more at the end. There wasn't as much horror action into it as I would have liked, but it's still pretty good. Chip Zdarsky really knows how to do dialogue.
Yeah. The thing about this is it's a small town sort of thing. So where everybody knows
it has
everybody.
like a Wicker Man feel to it.
Sure. So if you knew everybody in the town and everybody in the town knew that, man, we've got a gift here where no one dies in this town. And if that secret gets out, it's going to spoil it. All these rich people are going to come in and turn it into a spa or something. Who knows? You know what I mean? Scientists. Right. So they're keeping it a secret. So these strangers come to town. Yeah. And they find out. So they get murdered. The first guy you meet.
The first guy gets murdered. And You really don't expect it because they spend a good solid part of the first part of the issue building up his character.
Yes,
through
he's the
conversations
one.
and
He's
stuff.
the character I liked the most out of the whole
Exactly,
book.
and they kill him right off the bat.
That's what got me with this book.
Yep, it was a nice shock to it. I liked it.
Yeah, but then like the dude's mom, like the main guy with anger issues, his mom comes out and says, "No,
Is
my
that
son."
mom?
She says my son.
Okay, my
so I can
son.
only.
Okay.
So I don't know.
I thought it was this great grand aunt. They might be the
Yeah.
same person. Who knows?
Oh, maybe. Good issue though. Solid issue.
Great art too. I enjoyed the art.
Awesome. All right, Taylor, number 3 pick for you this week.
I think I'll do Thor number 7.
I didn't read this. Oh, I have it on my stack. I just didn't get to it. Last issue was so great. Number 6 was so damn good.
It is. They're doing a lot of these big moments, and I don't envy Donny Cates having to step in after Jason Aaron's run and be like the next guy up to bat after that. But he has been doing pretty well so far. The art's been on point. It's this big kind of cosmic scale to Thor that we don't see too often. But this issue was more subdued. He's back in Asgard. He's pulling a prank on Iron Man and testing some theories about his hammer.
With an actual phone number.
I haven't tried it yet, but yeah, apparently you can call it and get Iron Man's voicemail or something.
That's pretty weird.
So, hey, that sounds fun.
You make an obvious comparison to the last run on Jason Aaron. Come on, man. Jason Aaron's first arc of Thor is 1,000 times better than this first arc of Thor.
Well,
I don't deny that for a second.
That thing, though,
not
saying that, though, that's like saying...
It's not, but I don't know. It is kind of fair.
That arc is arguably the best Thor arc of all time.
Ever.
Though.
I know.
Yeah.
So that's like... So that's really an unfair comparison point.
It is entirely unfair.
Yeah.
And
I don't know.
Anyone who's going to step in after... Jason Aaron's reign was like 7 years or something.
Oh,
something like
he
that.
went through
He did like 100
3
issues
different iterations.
That first run, the first arc was amazing, and taken as a whole, I would go ahead and put Jason Aaron's as the best Thor run I've ever read.
I mean, there's some classic stuff that might
be
a little better, but
you might throw in like a Walt Simonson run or something like that.
Exactly.
But for me, it is Jason Aaron. I'll go ahead and say that.
Yeah.
Opinions may vary.
But on the Donny Cates run itself, it's good, you know. But
yeah.
I think it's some of the worst stuff that Donny Cates has
Well, the problem with the Donny Cates Thor run is that it's not necessarily a Thor story. It's a Donny Cates cosmic universe story. And so it keeps trying to tie into all of his other stuff that's going on. At least from what I've seen. I haven't been completely
I'm
caught
an
up.
issue down. But go ahead and talk about this issue if you want. I'm sorry, Taylor.
That's fine. I mean, that's a valid criticism, and this does have the anchor around its neck that I don't imagine for a second. I mean, sorry to say, but I've given it an arc to get into it, and it's not going to be as good as Jason Aaron's. But again, I don't think anything was ever going to be.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
But
it's still damn good.
It's strong on its own merits, true. I mean, if you don't like saddle it with the comparison and just judge it on its own merits, it's a solid read.
Sure.
This issue ends with a new person picking up the hammer. So,
oh wow,
somebody we've never met before, as far as I'm aware.
Awesome.
Not Jane Foster.
Not Jane Foster this time. It's
not
just
Solomon.
Some guy.
Just some guy.
Isn't Beta Ray Bill in this without his helmet on?
Beta Ray Bill is in it, yeah.
Oh, he looks so gross without his helmet on.
He does look really gross without his helmet on.
Put your helmet on, sir.
I never really noticed
make
how
fun of people.
Face he was, but
he's
a freaking alien. He's an alien horseman. What do you want?
You need to put a helmet on, Gomer.
I do.
Yeah, don't throw stones from your glass house there, Gomer. But
that's awesome.
But I don't know. It could be an interesting we had Jane, who at least was initiated into the world of superheroes, and this is just some guy. It's just some mechanic, and the hammer happened to fall next to his house. I don't know that Thor explicitly meant for him to be the one to pick it up, but he did, and so that could make for some cool storytelling potential.
Right?
We'll have to see.
Greatest American hero, but Thor.
Thor.
My number 2 book is Hellions number 4. A lot of X books for me this week. Zeb Wells, Steven Segovia. This continues to be a surprise hit for me, and the main reason it's on here is because it is such a surprise. It has this awesome mental illness angle to it, and I'll let you know what I mean by that. Just a little bit of a refresher. Krakoa is a place for all mutants where individuals are celebrated because of their mutantness, you know? So if your mutant power just so happens to also cause you to have a severe mental illness, then that mental illness is also sort of got to be celebrated along with your mutant power. Empath is a good example. When most people want something, they can read a body language of another individual and know what to do in response to that. Empath, because he is able to literally change what you do, he can control your mind. He doesn't have to read body language. He can control your body language. So that, of course, led to his problems, you know, there. They also have Wild Child on the team. They have Nanny and what's his name? A lot of cool characters, but also Havoc, who is suffering from severe PTSD. So this was more of like the final arc of the first introductory, or the final issue of the first introductory arc, where you're just getting a feel for the status quo of the team and what's going on. But it did bring up a whole lot of cool issues. Again, in the context of the mental illness angle they're taking with the mutants, in Hellions itself, but also overall with the new status quo for X-Men, with clones. The resurrection protocols are all about cloning a mutant and putting all their parts together, fast forward in time, and poof, you got the same character again. Madeline Pryor is a weird asterisk to all that because she herself is a clone of Jean Grey. So they murder her at the end of this, and she's not going to undergo the resurrection protocol. She is not allowed. But because of the history that she has with mostly Havoc and, yes, Cyclops to a large extent, they're sort of mourning this in a weird way. And Havoc's been internalizing all of his the terrible things happening to him. So he's just going to go, you know, a little
Havoc
bit more.
has had so much terrible shit happen to him. Havoc's been a punching bag for a long time.
And that's one of the things they're keeping from his previous sort of, at least the last arc before Hickman took over with everything that was going on with him. So very well done. I love the angle they're taking with mental illness because, again, traditionally and in their, you know, creation, the X-Men were meant to represent underserved individuals. And this is just a really creative and really innovative and wildly entertaining way to you know, sort of examine that, explore that in the new status quo that Hickman's created. So yeah, number 2 book, Hellions, number 4. No one else is reading Hellions?
Awesome. No, I'm not.
It's great.
Too many X books, man. I can't keep
there
up
are,
with
and
them.
I can't get enough of them. I want more.
The only X books I'm picking up are main X-Men and New Mutants.
Oh, Marauders, dude, you would love Marauders.
I've heard Marauders is good, but like
really
Adam said, like, you know, it's hard to keep up. There's
There's like 13 or 14 different books. Yeah.
They're adding a new one.
I will not. It's I cannot get all of these X books.
Yeah, they're adding.
I'll try Juggernaut next week.
Yeah.
Or whenever that comes out.
Juggernaut was in the Spider-Man book that came out this week.
Oh, nice. I didn't read that either. The Norman Osborn book.
I hope everybody who's been reading Spider-Man picked up that book, because it is not a Norman Osborn book. It is literally just the next issue of Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh my god!
With a different name on it, because I guess Nick Spencer couldn't time out the amount of issues he needed in his arc or something.
Oh, weird.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a choice.
It's terrible.
Made. All right.
Yeah, that's a choice.
Yeah.
Number two, Adam.
Number two. My number 2, sticking with X-Men, was Giant Size X-Men Storm number 1.
Oh. Okay, well, spoiler alert, that was going to be my number 1, so I guess.
I thought that was going to be Gomer's also.
This is the book I went back and forth with for number 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's from Jonathan Hickman and Russell Dodderman. In this one, Monet, Storm, Cypher.
Oh, this guy.
Damn it, Adam.
Oh,
okay,
damn
but
it, Adam. Yeah, go ahead, Taylor.
Just the artwork alone is a selling point for this book. For me, these giant-size X-Men issues have been really hit and miss. I loved the Jean Grey, Emma Frost one. I did not like the Magneto one. I did not like the Nightcrawler one. I did like the Phantom X one, and now this one was really good too.
This
So-
one did a good job of
They're
tying all
3
the
and
other ones
2
together.
on like how good they've been on the ones I've been picking up here.
Nice.
Yeah, I think this one did a really good job of tying all the other ones together.
Sure.
And it left a nice seed for future X-Men, because this Technovirus is going to come back probably after X of Sword.
Yeah.
That's the only reason it did not make my top 3 officially. This felt less like a story that really explored Storm, even though it did.
No, yeah, you are correct.
A
She's
centerpiece
all
of the book, though, was Storm's monologue, where she's
Yes.
and also that's an issue we could have been pointing out here. Is like, does this ultimately matter? Because they could just chop her head off right now and resurrect her, and ultimately wouldn't matter. But
that's
yeah,
the only
Storm's
real
monologue-
Storm. That's the only real personal, intimate Storm moment you get is when she's talking about, yeah, I could reset, but why should I take the easy way out?
Yeah.
This is
No,
my
yeah,
life. I
live
should
your
live
life.
it. Yeah.
That was a good
that was
Storm
very well done.
moment, and it was at the climax of the book, and probably the single best part of it.
This felt more like, hey, look what else Phantom X is doing from his one shot. And it's like, okay, I already watched him do this boring thing in his one shot with great art. But this also felt like a commercial for whatever Cypher is going to do, like you said, with that Technovirus. So it lost me. It wavered a bit too much for me.
I like this one because it gave the Phantom X one a reason to exist.
Sure.
Because my biggest problem with that Phantom X one was when I was reading it, I was like, why is Hickman telling me this stuff? Like, it's interesting and all, but like,
Well,
I don't understand why it's important. And now I know at least a little bit why it's more important.
Yeah.
weird
There's no telling
science
how that
bullshit
Technovirus will
is
evolve all
like-
those years in the world.
Like, I feel like Hickman couldn't resist telling this story about this asinine science bullshit.
No, he couldn't.
That is
He
the
just
world.
brings in literally random AIM scientists just to tell the story, you know?
Which, incidentally, Hickman has a thing for AIM. They've been a
He
prominent
does.
feature of
he
the
loves
Fantastic
AIM.
Four run, of the Avengers
Avengers.
run, and now they've worked their way into the X-Men run.
Yeah, he really does like AIM. The design in this, like the first few pages, you have the Technovirus sort of, I don't know, the skin thing that it does to you, the rash on the page, like behind the panels.
Russell Dodderman's
And then when
awesome.
Storm gets it,
He
and
is,
it's dude, the art, Russell Dodderman. That's why I was teetering back and forth. X-Men
Dodderman's art
was just a
alone
better
was worth the
issue.
price.
Well,
of
he also
admission
got a
here.
story
Yeah.
credit for this one too, so I wonder what
He
he's
did.
doing behind the scenes, coming up with the story.
Good for him.
I don't know. But Hickman maybe just be throwing him a bone because he did such a damn good job with the art.
Maybe,
you know,
maybe.
the art tells a lot of the story without even trying. But that was
I mean,
Adam's number 2 book.
The Jean Grey Emma Frost giant size from like a million years ago, that was nothing but Dowderman's art, and it was pretty great. There was like 2 or 3 lines of dialogue in that book or something.
Yeah, and it all called back to another silent issue during the Claremont run, where they did kind of the same thing.
And that was the issue where Storm got the Technovirus.
Exactly. All of these giant size, they're one shots, but not really. They all tie together.
It's basically
They're all the same book.
it's basically another monthly Hickman book that's just
really
all one
is.
shots.
It really is. We're getting that. The next one of those is like a Claremont Ween sort of tribute.
Yeah, that'll be
That's
interesting
cool.
to see.
All right, that was Adam's number 2 book. So Taylor, what is your number 2?
My number 2 is going to be Immortal Hulk number 37.
Oh, nice.
Immortal Hulk has really been a mainstay on my pull list for the last few years now. He continuously knocks it out of the park, I think. I mean, it's interesting.
He's great, man.
Yeah. I'm surprised they can get away with all the body horror you see in this book on a regular
That's
basis.
what Hulk's all about. Hulk is all about body horror.
I don't think I've ever seen it emphasized this much before, though.
The thing about this
it's definitely
Rick Jones in this
they're
book is
definitely
like
going with a
grotesquely
much-
been out of shape the whole time, and
they're definitely going with a much harder horror vibe with this run of the book.
I think
which
that's
I'm
Al
down
Ewing.
with.
I think that's Al Ewing taking it back to the roots of the character as he sees the character.
Yeah,
and it's been
It's like
successful.
a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde sort of horror thing. Yeah.
I remember back in the first issue, I think it was on one of the letter pages in the back where Ewing was talking about when he first saw the character, it was this, bulking behemoth, this shadowy creature. And yeah, there was this Jekyll Hyde element originally to it. It was kind of like almost like Werewolf at Night or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. It's getting a spin-off with the Immortal She-Hulk. That Werewolf at Night has got to be part of the reason. Part of the reason that book's come out is the success of this Hulk. But what about this issue? What's going on? I'm not keeping up. I am behind on Immortal Hulk.
Well, a few issues ago, we found out that the leader has been doing shit behind the scenes in this like resurrection plane that they keep going to whenever they die, and apparently and now he is starting to take actions and whatnot. He like stopped Leonard from resurrecting, and we see that he is fully possessed Rick Jones and also like that kid who was like buried alive back towards the beginning of the run.
Yeah.
And apparently also World Breaker Hulk. So.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what I think it was. The one thing that you could say about the book is like sometimes I have to, whenever like they like premiere a new idea for the first time, I kind of have to wait until the next issue where they explain what that was before I fully get it.
Nice.
But
what a great run.
Yeah,
was it still Joe Bennett on the art?
Yeah, I believe so.
Nice.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Marvel found a great run here. I just need to catch up on it.
So,
number one for me, man, I didn't want to do it, but after I read it a second time, it had to go number one. Iron Man, number one. Christopher Cantwell and Cafu.
I'm glad that's good. I didn't pick it up.
Doing the
I did
art.
not pick it up either.
Cafu's art really killed it for me. They're taking Tony back to basics as he struggles with his self. He's so many things. He's a hero. He's a CEO. He's an inventor. He's a brand. He's Tony Stark. He is a brand. And he's lost himself in all that. He's lost the man in Iron Man. At least that's what they're playing at in this book in terms of this story. They do some fun social media graphics where Tony Stark will like post things to social media and we'll see the replies from people, which are typical social media replies where everyone just hates his guts. Because of course they do, because it's the internet. And he's really down on that. And those social media graphics sort of help the reader grasp what Tony is going through on our own terms. Because there's simply no way for us to understand a billionaire CEO as intimately as we would understand this new Tony Stark. At one point, he's hanging out with Patsy Walker Hellcat, and she says, this new humility you've got going on, it's still your ego, just in different clothes. And that's basically the whole premise of the book, him searching for himself.
That might very well be an insightful jibe, but at the same time, fuck you, Patsy Walker.
But yeah, it's his own. But she's just echoing what he's explained to her, what it sounds like is going on in his life. Like he went and bought a new car. He's going street racing with like some gangs, and he has like a throwback Iron Man suit. It feels sort of midlife crisis. But it's all painted up around this fact that Tony Stark has lost his way. And it's a bit meta because, the character in the comics has sort of, gone.
Totally. He's been all over the place the last few years. He's
been an AI does explain why. Time. Yeah, I mean, that explains why I probably didn't pick up the book this week. But
Exactly. Okay, so despite the fact that Tony Stark, that he's a billionaire CEO, a superhero, a playboy, a really super smart inventor with unlimited resources, it should be very difficult for them to paint him as a tragic character, but this pulls it off.
Okay,
I can see it.
I've got to give it up to Christopher Cantwell for making me care about that sort of character, especially right now. But Cafu's art is probably the best damn art of the week.
He's got that Exo Man of War experience, man.
He
knows how to do a man in armor.
Yeah. But there is this overall sense of disgust with technology that Tony Stark is having right now that I think we can all sort of appeal to. There's a lot going on in this oversized first issue. But I couldn't deny it, man. After reading it twice, I was like, no, this was the best book of the week.
Awesome.
Adam, number one book of the week.
My number one was Heavy #1 from Vault
Oh,
Comics.
I didn't read that either.
Yeah, it's written by Max Bemis, and the art was from Eric Donovan. I always give Max Bemis at least a look whenever he comes out with something new, because his stuff is always just weird.
Yeah.
And this one's no exception. This one, basically imagine the Punisher. You know, his family gets killed by the Mafia, but imagine the Mafia actually did its job and killed the Punisher when they killed his family.
Oh,
Okay?
wow.
So now Punisher is in sort of like a purgatory area.
Yeah.
It's not purgatory, but it kind of is. They don't get into any details really.
Okay, so it's Spawn.
Sort of. But he goes through time and space as a heavy. That's the name of his job. He goes through time and space through the multiverse, and his job is to kill like anomalies, evil anomalies. So in this issue, he goes back in time and he fights a evil steampunk Leonardo da Vinci, who has created an evil steampunk army that has taken over all of Europe. And he's just running around with machine guns shooting everybody.
That sounds dope.
Yep, it's
That sounds
dope.
fun.
And
I
then,
mean,
and then in the very end,
like that basic premise is what got me to read the Shield book back in the day. It's like action star Leonardo da Vinci.
And in the very end, he's doing this so he can earn, good points so he can go to heaven to see his family. But he's not building up enough good points because he's doing all of this alone. He's a loner. So at the end of this issue, they give him a partner. But it turns out that his new partner is the guy who ratted him and his family out to the Mafia, which got them killed.
Wow.
So that's your hook for the next issue.
Twist.
Yep.
It's kind of a shitty gig that the forces of heaven or whatever gave to him there.
Yeah, the forces of heaven they're always trying to teach hard lessons.
I don't know.
Can't there be an easy lesson?
Yeah, the art from Eric Donovan is great. It's crazy. It's very all over the place. It's the Leonardo da Vinci stuff is all very interesting and a little gross, but in a good way.
Yeah.
I love this book. I'm definitely going to check out the next issue of it.
Nice. Yeah, I have to read that one. I'm reading that as soon as we're done here because I forgot all about it. Taylor, I think you already mentioned your number one.
Yeah,
book.
we already
Storm,
talked about
Giant
Size X-Men Storm. I'm glad that I was struggling for a minute if I was going to put X-Men number 12 on the list somewhere, but I didn't want to do 2 Hickman X-Men books in the same list. So.
Do it, man. Gomer is shameless for that. He'll do that.
I'm shameless for Hickman. I put Decorum and 2 X-Men books on the list one week. You're reading Decorum over at Image Comics from him?
No.
Oh, dude. It's like a comic book tour de force. It's amazing. Yeah, Decorum from Hickman over it.
I got Black Monday Murders in my backpack. Is like kind of a
that was good, but he never got anywhere with that.
Yeah, what's up with Hickman always putting like monochromatic characters and all this shit? We were talking about that last week.
Yeah, I saw you guys talking about that last week.
Yeah, it's weird.
Hey, look, he watched the show.
Thanks, man.
I commented on everything last week.
Oh,
what
yeah,
the hell?
He did.
Awesome. Well, that's it. We're done. We did everything that we set out to do today. I'm going to go have a drink and read heavy. Great. We want to thank everybody for hanging out. Thanks for kicking it. Check out spinwizcomics.com. That's our pre-show sponsor. Yeah, free comics.
Love free comics, iOS. Man. Super easy to download. I did it myself on air one time.
Yeah. Also,
and as you can see, Adam's internet is terrible. So if Adam,
it is today for some reason. I don't know what's going on.
Check us out, outrightgeekery.com. That's going to be something different eventually. I'm not sure what yet, but also check us out on patreon.com/outrightgeekery. We just want $1 a month just to continue to do the show. Just the tip. If you could help us out, that would be awesome.
God damn it, Gomer.
We want you to check out all the other shows that we do over here. We have tomorrow night's preview show, the Monday night previews, talking about all the new comics dropping later in the week. We have Creators Outlet with Big Willie. We also have OK Boomer, where we got some old guys talking about old comics. Comic Book Bullies are still streaming over here at our Facebook page. So yeah, thanks everybody for listening. Tell your friends, tell your pals, all that good stuff. But most of all, I want to thank these two jokers for hanging out with this joker.
Anytime,
Do
man,
the
when my
show.
internet lets me.
Right. Taylor, it was awesome having you in, man. Maybe you could come back next week.
Yeah, dude, it was great.
I've missed
catching up with
talking to you guys. Yeah, it's been. I've
It
really
has
enjoyed
been.
this.
No pressure. Give it some thought. Either way,
Yeah.
we'll have somebody sitting in with us until David comes back.
At the very least, feel free to keep me on the alternate list.
Okay. You're on. Yeah, it's always anytime you want to come on, man. Consider it an open invitation. So, yeah, we're gonna do this again next time.
Same bat time, same bat
It's
channel.
Geek Channel. It's Geek
Whatever,
Channel.
whatever. I don't care. I'm not.
That's why I miss David. That is why we need David back. He's gonna be so mad at you for messing that up.
Man, you gotta. I'm like Marlon Brando. You gotta feed me my lines through here. Okay? I'm not gonna learn this shit.